Welcome back, everybody. We had a slight technical issue, but now we're back and we're up and running. So, like I was saying, my name is Gerard Caruso, and I'm the Creative Director for Z1 Concept USA. And what I was talking about earlier, just a few minutes ago, was the different avenues and the vessels that we utilize within the salon. And it's really exciting to think now that Milkshake and Z1 Concept is launching their new Decologic Black lightening system. It is part of the Decologic lightening system, but it is a new lightener that's going to allow you to create 7 levels of lift and giving you toning capability all in one shot. So this is our new Decologic Black. Let's take it out. It comes in a beautiful 200 ml tube. It is a creamy consistency direct from the tube. You just squeeze it out of the tube, mix your appropriate developer, and you're on your way to success. And I think that that is the key factor. So I want to share a little bit about it with you first before we go into it, and then please, by all means, ask any questions that you possibly would have or any suggestions. Tell me a yay or nay if you like something, and we will really go in depth with it. So what I wanted to share with you is that Decologic Black has some really key ingredients in it. And you know those familiar ingredients that we presently have in our Decologic lightening system, like the cranberry extracts and the clay, from the Brazilian clay extract that's in there, the silk proteins that are in there. We have those key ingredients in here as well in our new Decologic Black, but we also have things like charcoal, fruit oligosaccharides. Why are they important? They're very important. Charcoal is going to aid, because of the pigment of the charcoal, is going to aid us to create a toning effect as we're lightening the hair. It'll help to remove impurities out of the hair. It is not unknown to the beauty industry. It is presently in some of our skincare. So now we found a way to utilize that in hair care as well. Perfect in our lightening system. The fruit oligosaccharides. What is that going to do for us? That is basically going to create a chain to fill the pockets of the hair when the hair is uneven and porous. So that will give us that beautiful even tonality that we're looking for, that lift that we're looking for, that protectiveness that we're looking for in hair. We've already talked about the clay and the cranberry and the silk proteins, but 2 other added ingredients like beeswax and also argan oil. Properties to protect the hair during the lightening process, enabling you to create something that is not going to be invigorating or aggravating onto the scalp area. The beeswax that's going to place in there. So same key ingredients that are in our Decologic lightening system, but more added value to you. We've created those extra ingredients in the Decologic Black. Now, you're going to be able to get up to 7 levels of lift, okay, creating a neutral or natural blonde tone in the hair. That's most important. Now, but we also have to think about cosmetic color. We talk about natural color and cosmetic color. Those are 2 different colors that we possibly are going to try and penetrate through. They have different underlying pigments. So we want to make sure. So we are able to create that beautiful cool blonde that you're looking for. So without any further ado, because I want to get working for you. This is one of our models. His name is Sebastian. Sebastian is also a hairdresser. So he is pretty and understands what we go through on a day-to-day basis. And he knows what he wants in his hairstyle as well as what he wants in his guests that enter into the salon. So I want to share something with you. Maybe we can get the camera a little bit close right up in here. So if we look at Sebastian presently right now, right down here, Sebastian is probably the only ginger Puerto Rican that I know. Right down here is his natural base. So he does have that ginger tonality. It's part of the red family and the copper tones in here. This is his natural hair. You could tell because it was clippered very close to his scalp. But as we go in here, Sebastian changes his hair color quite often. He wants to enhance, right now he's going in to enhance his natural tone. So he's been going in there and he's been utilizing creative permanent color, one of our 8.43, so that's that copper gold. It's going to allow you to go in there and create those copper tones to the hair. He has done that several times into his hair. We have also experimented on Sebastian and used a copper gloss in his hair at a level 7.1, which is that darker blonde or that medium blonde copper tonality. So that was placed in his hair. So there's a slight buildup there. You hear where I'm going with this? The other thing with Sebastian just informed me that he did not too long ago is he took advantage of the 9-minute color at home, and he placed 9-minute color in his hair with 10 volume. And I believe you told me you use a 6.4 in that too, right? So a darker copper tone in the hair. So now when we go to pre-lightness, Sebastian came to me one day, he goes, hey, what about becoming a platinum blonde? And I'm like, let's go for it. So here's what I want to show you what Decologic Black is going to do for you. It's going to take you from all this cosmetic color, all that natural tone, and create a level 9 blonde in the hair. So here's what I want to share with you. I want to see if Brian can come up close. I have Mr. Brian Greaves, Director of Education, with us. This was Sebastian's natural tone, so you can see that the coolness that lifted in one application, all right, allowed us to get that cool tone here. When we went into this artificial color, there's still a little bit of warmth there, but we were able to still get to a level 9. It was applied from the scalp out to the ends. We did take a 24-hour patch test prior because we, as a standard rule in our company, don't necessarily talk about placing lighteners onto the scalp area. With all these protective ingredients in the Decologic Black, we are able to now do that. However, we recommend a patch test prior so that there's no irritation. The condition of the hair is beautiful. He still has a little bit of warmth that is placed up there. We want this to be a total even toned out. So this is where when we talk about our Decologic Black, when would you tone and when would you not? Now down here, we don't necessarily need to tone because that was natural hair. This was all the cosmetic color that you saw on the opposite side. Maybe I could just turn them around real quick, Brian. All this copper tones, that was a buildup of color in the hair that we were able to lift to a level 9. So all of you viewers out there that are watching, give me a thumbs up, or what do you think about the color? Is it amazing that we're able to go in there, save the condition and the porosity of the hair, number one, but most importantly, go in there and get to our target level where we need to be?
Alex Russian, you know, is blown away.
Amazing. Now, it's kind of funny because Sebastian and I do work together, and he did tell me he wanted to be the male version of Cruella de Vil. So we are going to actually leave him half blonde and closer to his natural color, the half copper tones that he has in the hair. However, we want to make sure that we go in at this level. We are going to go in and toning. So I do have Miss Dolly Hernandez. Come in, Dolly.
Woo!
Dolly Hernandez. You all know her. She is one of our senior educators here. She runs the hotline. She's like my right and my left hand. She does everything with us. So Dolly is going to actually take Sebastian, and we're going to go back in and revisit the cold blondies. Remember the cold blondies that we launched not too long ago? So we are going to go revisit that. And Dolly is actually, after consulting with Sebastian, they're going to go in with the 10.117, which is our level 10 ash violet. And we're just going to go in and just tone out some of the warmth at that level 9. But here's the key factor. To use Decologic Black to create somebody from a level 5 or level 4 all the way up to a level 9. No sweat, no worry, no ins and outs, all right? So this was one way that we did it, by applying it right directly to Sebastian's head. So you're gonna go with Miss Dolly, we're gonna get you toned up, and then we're gonna bring it back in right before the ending of the show so you can see the final tonal value of the hair.
Okay, awesome, Gerard. Thank you, Dolly, and thank you to Sebastian. Gerard, a couple of quick questions coming in. Katie from Ohio says hi to Dolly and hi to you. We've got British Columbia in as well. But could you share the level of developer that was used and the timing on Sebastian's hair?
Yeah, the timing was timed at 45 minutes, between 45 to 50 minutes, and we did use 30 volume developer. At the mids and ends, when we applied down by the regrowth area, we utilized 20.
20, excellent. So I believe we have...
We don't necessarily want to go higher than that. We do not recommend 40 volume, especially when it comes to creating any type of double application or double process.
Okay, great. And we have a great amount of people joining us today, Gerard. So let us know where you're coming in from, and we'll give you a little shout out. So, Gerard, I believe we have another fabulous model in the house.
We do. So, I'm going to bring Danielle in. I'm going to have Danielle sit right there.
Okay, there you go. Okay. All right, Gerard, so what's happening here?
Okay. So, here's the thing, and I think that this is one important thing that stylists tend to forget about, and that is existing natural color, like Danielle has at the regrowth area, her natural base, okay? And then what has been going on mid-shaft to end? So Danielle is also a hairdresser, so I'm going to let her briefly tell you what she's been doing mid-shaft to end, the color tones that she's been using. I understand, Danielle, that you were saying that you have creative color in here.
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to tell everybody what levels and what tones, and then possibly how many times that you've been utilizing the color?
Okay, so I did 5N and 5.16 with 10 volume, and I've been doing it every so many months.
All right, so would you say that you have at least 3 or 4 applications of color on there?
Yes.
Okay. The reason why it's important for us as stylists, okay, to consult with our guests, especially, it doesn't matter that we're using Decologic Black in this, for instance, but it's important to realize what is presently on the hair. When we talk about creating 7 levels of lift, we have to realize that we are now going to penetrate all this buildup of color, which, like Danielle said, at a level 5, 5N and 6.1, in order to create that chocolate effect to the hair with 10 volume. All right, so it creates shine in dimension, a chocolatey effect if you look at the hair. Now, I'm going to share a technique. It's kind of more of just going in, utilizing the typical ombre. We still are doing ombres and sombres and balayage. We showed you earlier on Sebastian, we're going to bring him back out, how we utilize it as a double application. And we applied it from scalp out to the end. Now we're going to work in an ombre effect. I've already completed the opposite side, so once I go through the technique here, answer your questions as we go along, I'm going to release the side that has already been completed so you can see the effect. We know that we're not going to get to a level 9 that Sebastian presently has, right? That all comes in consultation. You know what? You would either have to gradually get there and do it repetitively, but we are going to bring her up to a much more neutral, natural type of a blonde on artificial color treated hair.
Cool. So, Gerard, just while you're getting ready there, let me give you 1 or 2 shout outs. You have a bit of a global appeal today. We have Shireen coming in from South Africa.
Oh,
hey. And then we have Marvin from Belgium. Wow,
Welcome.
I'm trying to, we have there's somebody called Charlene from Ontario. I guess she's new to us. Have we heard of a Charlene from Ontario before?
yeah.
She's coming. We've got Suzanne in from Austria. Wow, nice appeal.
We have a great
nice global appeal. So,
okay. So
what's next?
Here's what we need to talk about when working with Decologic Black. All right, we need to decide how or what is our application. What are we using? How do we want the final results to be? All of those key points that we always talk about, correct? But most importantly, you need to know that because that's going to determine your mixing ratio. So Decologic Black, coming straight out of the tube, is going to come out in a gray consistency that does not oxidize out. It'll stay in that dark gray consistency the whole time it's processing because of the charcoal pigments, the amount of pigments that are in there. But, excuse me, my mask keeps slipping there. But we want to make sure that our mixing ratio is correct. So here's a couple of suggestions for you. If you are doing anything freehand, all right, remember that your mixing ratio preferably is suggested to be at 1 to 1.5. 1 on your lightener that you're using, 1.5 of your chosen developer you choose. If you are choosing to use any type of vessel, and what I mean by vessel are easy strips, soft strips, foil, or any other type of vessel to encapsulate it, all right, so that it allows it to encapsulate on its own, your mixing ratio would be 1 to 2. If you were doing any type of decapping or total application from regrowth area to ends, your mixing ratio would be 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, depending on the consistency. So that's really important to understand, the mixing ratios, and why you would choose a certain one. So because I'm actually going to use something, a vessel, I'm going to be using soft strips. So I'm going to actually put them right there. We're going to be using soft strips to just layer on top of it so that I'm allowed to apply the color and not worry about anything getting all over the place. I'm going to use soft strips. So my mixing ratio is going to be 1 to 2. So let's go in right here. Okay, I got to be real accurate. I always hate when people film me measuring because God forbid it's 1 centimeter off. So look at how that's coming out of the tube. It's a nice creamy consistency, dark in color. All right, keeping that there. Let's get my little cap.
Might be under the soft
I
strips.
got it right here. And now I'm going to be working, okay? And because I'm going in, it's still part of the balayage family, but we're going to create that ombre effect all the way out. So my concentration is really going to saturate down at the end of the middle part of the mid shaft, all the way out to the ends, and then just lightly smudge it up a bit. So I'm going to be using our 30 volume emulsions, oxidizing emulsions from our Creative Permanent Color, and I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to bring this up to 150, because I know that we have 50 grams of Decologic Black. So we're doing 100 grams of our emulsions. Okay, going in with a rubber-coated whisk, and I'm just going to whisk that up to a beautiful, nice, creamy consistency. And you want to make sure that you really get that nice and creamy in there, all right? Mixing is really, 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 really important. I always recommend using a whisk in reference to using a brush or a spatula, because then you can get that almost like Cool Whip.
A question from Janine. Junine, I think is how we pronounce her name. She's asking, would you add this Safe Lightener complex to this if you needed to?
Great, great, great question. If you are in concern of the jeopardy of the hair, the porosity of the hair, the condition of the hair, by all means, you may add the Safe Lightening Complex to this. For the purpose that I'm utilizing it today, I'm keeping in mind that I have the fruit oligosaccharides that are in the lightener. I know that I have the, let me just get rid of this, the beeswax and the argan oil, plus all those other key ingredients. So I'm not concerned, and the condition of Danielle's hair. I don't feel that it's necessary for me to worry about using the Safe Lightening Complex. However, by all means, yes, always analyze the hair first. Okay, my gloves. Analyze the hair first, and then make that decision. So I hope I answered that good.
Yeah, you got a thumbs up and a thanks and a little heart. So I guess your fan club's growing, Gerard, by the minute. In this global escapade here, we have a lot more Canadians in from Calgary, from Winnipeg.
Okay.
Awesome.
So let's talk about technique first, and then we're going to go back in and we're going to really, really hit home with the product and why Decologic Black is such an important necessity today. It's allowing us to go in there and create those looks that we've longed to create, and most importantly, control some of the warmth. And here's the funny thing is that not only are we utilizing this at higher levels, all right, to control warmth, but it's still allowing you to control the warmth at your level 6 and 7 and 8. And we all know how hard that is, right? We know that the underlying pigments at the 6 and 7 and 8, that's the hardest to penetrate through. So we will talk a lot about this Decologic Black. So Danielle has very curly hair with a slight frizz to it, without a doubt. It's always important. In this case, I went in and I blew dried Danielle's hair just so I can get a much smoother texture to the hair. Why does that aid? Well, that aids us when we go in and we start painting the hair. And we start applying it into an ombre effect because you get even saturation. I'm going to be working with something that is almost like a paintbrush that will allow me to go in there.
Gerard, I think Dolly might have a question for you.
Dolly, you might have
No?
a question?
No?
Dolly's gonna pass
She's
it.
passing it. Okay, sorry, I thought you were waiting. There is a question from Cassie. She says, I may have missed it, but what is the mixing ratio when you're applying to the scalp?
Okay, so on Sebastian's hair that you saw earlier, Cassie, the mixing ratio was 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, depending on the consistency and the creaminess that you would want. Here's what I'm going to share with all. 1 to 2, 1 to 3 also depends on the density of the hair. If you're dealing with a finer texture of hair, you might just want to go in and mix your mixing ratio 1 to 2. If you're dealing with a coarser, a much more larger density of hair, your mixing ratio can go as high as 1 to 3. Density, porosity, condition, structure, texture, those all take a big part. Okay, you're going to be on my what side? Oh. All right. So I am using my paddle brush. I'm only going to use it for the first soft stripe that I use because that's why I enjoy working with soft stripes. They allow me to go in. Let me just want to measure something out. Okay. Soft stripe. And I'm probably going to have to move this. Okay. I'm going to share 2 tools that I'm going to be working with so I can show you all. I am actually going to be working with a brush that almost resembles a paintbrush, all right? Very similar to that. I'm going to give you a little secret out there. These possibly will be arriving soon with the Little Milkshake logo on it. So hopefully we will have them shortly. But this allows you to get better saturation to the hair and allows you to blend it into the hair. And most importantly, do you know sometimes when you paint hair, you don't get the opposite side? I don't have to worry about flipping around the hair. I could really work that in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right above that with a sponge. And I'm going to just lightly smudge that up a little bit. So let's work fast here, doll. I'm going to turn this over, if I can see it. Okay.
Can you see?
Okay. All right. So I'm actually going to go in there, dip my brush. All right. Really want to make sure, look at the consistency of that. It doesn't drip off of the brush. It's a pleasure to work with. And I'm going to come right down to the bottom, and I'm just going to start by saturating the bottom of that. Work my way up. Okay. Add a little bit more on that. Love the consistency. I don't know if anybody's tried that. And then I'm just going to come in with my sponge applicator, and I'm just going to smudge that. Why? Because I wanted to go from that natural chocolate that you presently have to a little bit of a slightly warmer tone to a nice neutral blonde on the bottom. We're dealing with reality, and I think that that's the most important thing, to speak reality, speak the truth of what actually is going to happen. Now, I don't need to use my paddle anymore. If you choose to continue to use a paddle, you don't want to use soft stripes. If you were just using this, if I was just working on a balayage technique where I was just painting it without doing an ombre effect, I would go in and use the paddle. But because I'm actually going, I know I'm going to drop that, let it go. I think I have another one up. I already have one. Okay. Actually, okay. And I'm taking about 3/4 to a 1/2 inch section because I want to see some sheerness in that, right? Right? So in this case now, I'm just going to pick up the bottom of this. I'm laying that right on top. Okay? Again, no dripping. Really saturating. Look at the color and the consistency of that. Really saturate the ends of the hair. And then just brush that lightly up. Okay, come back in with my sponge. And kind of just smudge the excess. What that allows you to do is remove some of the excess and kind of get a better blend in there. Take your next easy strip and work that on top. So I have a question for everybody out there, Brian.
Oh, the other way around.
Has anybody already pre-ordered their Decologic Black?
I believe there could be. Let's wait and let's see if there's any answers come in. So I hope everybody had that question. Has anybody already pre-ordered their Decologic Black? Or maybe you have used it. You never know. Okay.
I think the vessels that we use to create the outcome and the look that we're trying to achieve are so important. I think it's important to realize, like, you know what? We are artists. We should be using sponges and paintbrushes. These are vessels and avenues for you to work with. The saturation is always at the bottom, and then it starts getting smudged into the middle section and lightly brushed up. Now you can take this as high as you want it to go. You can leave it as low as you want it. I mean, the ultimate at the end is all in what the outcome and the final look is that you're looking to achieve. Just make sure that you really get that hair kind of spread out there nicely. Again, consistency of your lightener is most important. You don't want that to slip off the brush. If it's slipping off the brush, you are not going to get your full lightening experience. Creating looks like this are important today because especially for guests. And the reason why I enjoy working with our new Decologic, I'm sorry, hold on. With our new Decologic Black is because I have complete control. Now, I have a question out there, and let's see who answers this, Brian.
Okay. There has been some responses. Okay. Quite a lot of people have ordered. There's one or two have used it. Somebody, Carla, I think it says, I personally used it on myself and love it. So there you go.
Don't you love the condition of the hair, Carla, how your hair feels? And think about what we talked about. What are some of the key ingredients that are in the new Decologic Black? Well, you know that we have all the ingredients that you presently see in our Decologic system, like we talked about, the clay, the cranberry extract, the silk proteins, but then you have added value here. You have added value, the most important, number one, charcoal, all right? That's saturating these gray pigments into the hair. Okay, really saturating. You see how great it is to work with a paintbrush like this? Because it allows you to really saturate that hair, really get that hair in there. And then just go in and brush off. You're just brushing off excess is what you're doing
So
when you use a sponge.
Philomena's checking in and asks, again, can you confirm that the ratio that you use right now is 1:2? Is that correct?
Yes, the ratio that I use is 1:2, Philomena.
There we go.
Awesome. So you are noticing too that whenever I section the hair, whatever section I do, it's always on a diagonal, because if I'm doing it in quadrants like I'm doing, I take it on a slight diagonal because hair naturally just flows better that way. It'll fall better that way. Okay, so the other key ingredients in our Decologic black are things like fruit extracts, oligosaccharide. So what are those? Okay, those are actually what's allowing me, if this hair had any pockets, it creates a chain throughout the hair in order to fill up the pavement. So think of a bumpy road. It creates that chain, it's going to fill those pockets so that I can get an even lightening experience.
Okay.
And it's quick, it's fun, and it's exciting.
Gerard, a couple of questions on the same topic. The most recent one in from Sharon. Can you use this on previously lightened hair as a retouch?
Okay, great question. Yes, you absolutely can. A couple things to be aware of. Depending on the porosity and the condition of the hair, it is always recommended to be cautious that you do not overlap this on top of the previous pre-lightened hair. Reason being, why? Okay, well, one thing that could happen that you need to be aware of is that you, because of the charcoal, the gray tones in this, if the hair is overly porous, it could possibly grab some of this gray tone. If that does happen, don't worry about it. Don't sweat. We don't need to panic. You can simply go in there, do a quick wash or a deep cleansing with the shampoo, and you'll remove that gray tone out. So yes, you can utilize the Decologic Black on previously lightened hair to do this as a touch-up. Just be careful you're not overlapping.
Thank you.
Oh, just dropped it.
Sponge. Sponge.
Oh, sponge.
Sharon says thank you.
You are so welcome, Sharon. So,
Oh.
if you think about this, okay, you can go in and create this. Now, once I get to the front, I'm gonna really quickly do the front. I'm gonna show you that we are taking that on a diagonal as well. I think it's important to keep in mind. Now, usually, as I come into the hair, I always slightly go further up. The higher up that I go, it allows me to get some more of that blending, and especially because the hair is overlaying each other.
Okay, Gerard, here's one of those really important questions. This is from Natalia. Can we use heat for some extra lift power? There we go. There it is.
Okay, so is it recommended to use heat? We never recommend to utilize heat or added heat with any lightener. However, if you feel that the hair is stubborn and you want to place them for a couple minutes under heat, I would not put a plastic cap on the head. I would be careful of that. You know, you need to treat the Decologic Black the same way you would treat any other lightener in that aspect. So just, you know, be conscious of it. And the other thing that I want to share with you to be conscious of is you need to keep in mind that this tonality is not going to change. That will remain gray. So a lot of people are like, well, what happens, okay, when I go, okay, and now I go back in, see my dryer and my brush, I want to smooth that out a little bit. What happens when I go to check, right? It's still going to be gray, so you're going to have to wipe it off. You're going to have to wipe it off, possibly spray it with a little bit of water in order to see where you're lifted to. So what I'm going to do here is, because I had a hair pinned up, it's a little wavy, I'm actually going to just smooth that out a bit. And then we're going to come into the front. Now we're going to release a money piece. Let me just slow down this real quick. Okay. We are actually going to release a money piece, what I always like to call my money piece, and that's going to be right in the front here. So I'm going to just release this piece right out. All right, I did the same thing on the opposite side. I took a triangle. So I always take a triangle because the triangle in the front is my money piece. So I'm going to release this. This is going to be done last because it's going to determine how much I want to. Okay, you can see that. I'm going to release that, put that there right now, not worry about that. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take these on a diagonal to the front. All right? Starting from the top of the ear, work my way up to the eye. And release the bottom of that hair, take these on side diagonal. And again, go back to what we talked about earlier, my paddle for the first soft stripe that I put in. Saturate that at the bottom. Now, what you're noticing in the front, I start to come higher. Because I actually want to make sure that she's lighter in the front. Why is that? Because on natural hair, you always have a tendency to be lighter into the front. So if you think about how neat and clean and easy this is to create these beautiful ombre to the hair, that's the most important, okay? I don't need to use my paddle anymore. Apply a saturated amount on the bottom, okay? You can create a V shape if you'd like, blend it in the middle, but really saturate that in. Okay, and continue with
Sponge.
Couple of good questions again. Gerard from James. Do you know if there are plans of releasing a charcoal toning shampoo and conditioner in the future?
They are looking into it and thinking about it. Can't give you an exact answer on that. That is a possibility. Presently, right now, what I have used on Danielle previously, what I tend to use all the time in the salon, is the Soul Silver. And we have that in 2 different strengths. You know, we have the light and we have the regular one. So right now, presently, we're using the Soul Silver, and we're going to see what happens down the line. Silver Shine, excuse me.
Here comes another good question. It's from Heidi. Are there any similarities to Total Roots and Stroke Level 9?
No, level 9 is creating 9 levels of lift. Heidi, and Total Roots only will give you 6 levels of lift. Decologic Black will give you 7 levels. Keep in mind that the Total Roots is allowing you to go in there. It's an ammonia-free lightener. And it's allowing you to go in there and get that lift that you're looking for. That if you wanted to simply go in and apply it as a total application, you can do that. Level 9, we don't recommend to be utilized as a total application from scalp to ends.
Just a confirmation again with the strength of the developer emulsion you're using, Gerard, on this particular
The emulsion
model.
that I'm using presently right now is 30 volume. Okay, and utilizing it by just painting it into the hair. Most importantly, again, not doing balayage is just painting the hair, but because I'm using the soft strips, I am actually encapsulating it with the strips, and that's going to allow me to keep the hair nice and clean and keep it intact so that I can still maintain the moisture on the outside of the lightener versus if I was doing it 30 volume, mixing ratio, like I said earlier, 1 to 2.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're getting down to the last few sections. And in here, I'm really going to saturate the front because I want it to really get lighter in there. And then I'm going to open it up so that you guys can see the end result. We are then going to let her process, okay? And we're probably going to let her process for a good 25 to 30 minutes because that's what we did on the opposite side. And we're down to the last section. And then we're going to go right into the money piece. So what do you guys think so far?
I think you've got a lot of love out there, Gerard. Everybody's saying they're loving it, loving the versatility. I think that's a good word that's come up a couple of times today.
That's actually a good word. I'm going to come up a little bit higher like I did on the other side and just have that painted there. Don't be afraid in any way, shape, or form on how you work with color. Color is correctable. We need to be creative, and I think that Decologic Black allows you to be a little bit more creative and think outside the box. Okay, so let's do this money piece right here. Let's saturate this last money piece totally separately. All right? Do I? Okay. I'm going to leave that lightener right up there. No, that's part of the light.
Okay.
That's probably right down in there. We'll do that one. Dolly just awared me of a section we left out. Doll, can I have a stripe, please? And then once I finish this, right in here. Now I'm coming up a lot higher in this section here, and I'm really saturating that area. And then I'll go back to that one piece that Dolly so kindly allowed me to know that we left out.
Well, in response to your question, Gerard, you're asking, how people feel. Again, I think it's Shireen, I think is how we pronounce her name, from South Africa, literally just said, "I'm in love." So we don't know if it's with Decologic Black. That was exactly.
I could relocate to South Africa real easy.
I knew you would
think. But if
think
I'm
that.
not mistaken, I believe she is married, so I don't think that's going to work.
Oh boy, oh boy, here we go. You just mentioned the word love, and he's off, isn't he? He's off. No, there's a lot of love coming through, Gerard. It's they're rolling so quickly, it's quite difficult to tell everything.
Look how neat the application is. This was the section that Dolly informed me that I missed. She wanted to call me out.
Or did she have your back?
She always has my back.
There we go.
So, I love working with the sponge after you applied it with a paintbrush or an applicator brush, whatever you choose, because the sponge will allow me to go in there and remove any excess. So that's going to stay into the hair, and that's going to process now for 30 minutes. Real neat and clean, right? Okay, let's move this out of the way, Brian. Okay. Did you all feel that was kind of neat, quick application? No worry about the consistency of your liner, because look, okay, the Decologic sticks to the bristle of the brush, doesn't slide off. And I think that's what's really, really cool about working with something. You have complete control. So, before I unveil the opposite side and what we talked about, and I'm going to please continue in with your questions, I'm going to share with you a little bit more information on the Decologic Black. For those of you who have just tuned in, okay, so you do know that we did use Decologic Black. Let me move this so you can see out of the one that I love. Let's put this out of the way like that. Okay, beautiful application, right? With the Decologic Black, again, 200 mil tube, nice, thick, creamy consistency, flexible to be utilized at 10, 20, 30, possibly 40 volume developer, depending on where you're utilizing it in the creative emulsions. All right, mixing ratio of anywhere from 1 to 1.5, or 1 to 3, depending on what your final result is going to be. Keep in mind what we were talking about earlier. You know what? You are able to get 7 levels of lift. You are able to have complete control in your lightening experience. You're able to save the porosity and the condition of the hair. We can utilize this for total recap. We can utilize this for anything from balayage, ombre to sombre, to tips and tricks, whatever you choose to do. You can encapsulate it, you can apply it as a painting, and let it incubate on its own. A couple of things that I want to share with you. If you're presently using any of our other Decologic lightning systems, like our lightning, our lightning powder, our Decologic blue, our level 9, our clay lightener, you can also add 30% of Decologic Black into your formulation with your other existing lighteners to create another level of lift with added toning capability. So if you were using the lightning powder that only gives you 20, it's the white one in the container, it only gives you 6 levels of lift. If you wanted to add the Decologic Black into that, you can create toning possibilities, as well, slight toning, as well as creating another level of lift into that. It is the only one that can be intermixed with the opposite within its portfolio family. We talked about Decologic Black giving you key ingredients. All right, let's open up to that right there. I want to share that with you because it's really, really important when you look at the key ingredients. If we could only find the page. Here we go. All right, what does Decologic Black have in it that the other lighteners do not have? It has the added charcoal. It has the fruit oligosaccharides in it. All right, what is this? Why is this so important? Because, like I said, it's going to fill the pockets of the hair. And then again, it has your cranberry, your clay, and your silk protein. But we have argan oil, we have beeswax, we have everything that's going to save the integrity of the hair. Most important when it comes to lightning. So, what do you guys think? Are you liking it?
Game changer.
Absolute game changer. So, let's share the kind of look that we did previously. I'm going to share this with you. All right. I'm actually going to go in there and just lightly run that through. All right. Beautiful, beautiful, natural tones to the hair. All right. Allowing you to create. Now, we actually were able to go in there and create the dimension. There was no toning. We didn't tone Danielle whatsoever. A lot of times people will have a question, and I know you all might think of it, do I have to tone after Decologic Black? It depends on what your final result is going to be. Remember, my saying always is, you must have an ending in mind before you take off to go wherever you're going. You need to know what is the ending. Where do you want the final result to be? What is your final look that you're achieving? This was not toned whatsoever. This was just applied, okay? Beautiful tones to the hair. There was no toning on Danielle's hair. What do you guys think?
You're getting gorgeous and wow.
Amazing, amazing results without any toning that was applied to the hair. Now, is Sebastian almost done? You know, so think about the possibilities. Think about the avenues that you can go down when working with a lightener that's going to give you complete control and toning at the same time.
Okay, lost her name now. She's gone. Terry said, could you give the approximate timing again? Because she left the live to go and order the product. Good, that's awesome.
So this timing was 30 minutes. I left it on Danielle's hair. On Sebastian, we left it up between 45 to 50 minutes on his hair for complete total application.
Heidi says the condition seems great.
The condition is fantastic, Heidi. Okay? Now, remember, price point. Where do you price point this when selling it to your guests? I would always increase your lightning experience slightly, a few dollars, could be $10, could be $20, onto what you're presently getting when using the Decologic lightning. It's allowing you, the Decologic Black, it's allowing you to go in there and create a level of lift and tone at the same time, so that balances off the chart. However, the key question is can I tone after using Decologic Black? Absolutely, depending on what your final result is. Dolly is actually rinsing off Sebastian now. I don't know if you all were tuned in earlier. I showed you how we utilized him as a double application. We applied that from Scalp to ends to create that level 9 lip. He still wanted to be on that kind of cooler violet tone, so we actually went in with our cold blondies, 10.117 for Sebastian, and we're going to bring him out in a minute, and we'll show you that.
How could you achieve silver or gray with this product?
Okay, so remember what I'm always telling you, and I think this is one thing that hairdressers tend to forget. If you were to take Decologic Black and you were applying Decologic Black onto somebody who had a level 5, and you created your levels of lip, you will be up to a total cool blonde. If you are looking to create any type of silver or gray effects to the hair, then toning probabilities would be added after. So you can go in with our smoothies, our 10.11 in the cold blondies. You can go in with the silver in the smoothies, the specials. You can intermix pearl in there. You can add anthracite, a drop or two of anthracite to it. There's so many avenues to create a beautiful silver if that's what you're looking for.
Right, excellent. Alison would say, what color of blonde would you say that you've achieved on Danielle? Right
So
now?
on Danielle, it's more of a neutral blonde. It's more of a cooler blonde, giving you that natural effect without having the excess of too much warmth into the hair. And that's the important factor. And keep in mind, we are pre-lightening previously color-treated hair. It's cosmetic color. All right? So we are pre-lightening cosmetic color. So we're taking somebody that is at her natural level is a natural level 5. Her cosmetic color is a level 5. And we're bringing her up, all right, with different tonalities in it to a level 8, 9. So that's going to create that much more cooler, natural, neutral blonde.
Cool. So from Suzanne, she says, my English is not so perfect. Can you put it in other blonding? Which I think you explained it.
Yes, I explained that a little bit earlier, Suzanne. If you wanted to intermix 30% of your Decologic Black into any of the other Decologic portfolio family, we have our lightning powder, we have our blue, and we also have our level 9 clay lightener. So you have your blue lightener, you have your Decologic level 9 lightener, you have the lightning powder, which is the white consistency. You can place up to 30% into the existing formula to give you an extra level of lift with toning capability.
Okay, and then did you mention the balayage clay lightener? Yeah?
And about, yes,
Yeah,
the clay
okay,
lightener.
brilliant. Awesome. Yeah, there's still lots of love, and love. Milkshake is the best, and la-di-da.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right, so at this point, I want to take Danielle. She's going to go process for the remainder of the next 15 to 20 minutes that she has. All right. Now, here's what I want to share with you before we let Danielle go. Okay. I'm going to pass her over to Dolly. Then we're going to get her shampooed out, blow dry her. We are not going to tone her. Okay. This is untoned. All right. That was not toned. But we are going to go in and do the final photo, and we'll post that up at the end of this Facebook Live. So let's go all the way down to the bottom to the first. So what I wanted to share with you is I wanted you to see that the gray color in the lightener never disappears. It never turns white. So in order to see the tone, you have to start to wipe it off. And you see when you wipe it off, you can start to see that you're getting your lightening experience, so that when you completely wash that off. So if you walk away, I'm not worried about it. What did you do? Oh. Well, no, I'll bring him out. I'll bring him out with you. Not a problem. I'm going to put that back on. Thank you, darling. All right, I'm putting it right back on. All right, but what I wanted you to see is that the color of the lightener doesn't change. It's still going to remain charcoal, gray in tone. All right, so if you're the type of person that needs to see a little bit of the lightening happening, you then have to wipe that off, possibly spray it with a water bottle.
Can we suggest that that was a great tip, Gerard, that you just did, because you did it automatically?
Right.
When you scraped the hair to check it, I noticed that you reapplied
Yes.
the Decologic Black. Yeah.
You must reapply the Decologic Black afterwards.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to have Danielle go with Dolly, and I'm going to have Sebastian come in.
We have another great question
Yep.
from Terry. Is there a maximum timing, or will it stop lifting after a maximum time?
Is there a maximum timing? Maximum timing would be 60 minutes, okay? After 60 minutes, you need to just release it, rinse it off. If you feel that there's some warmth in there that you don't want, you have your toning possibilities, or you can go in there and carefully reapply to the warm areas. So here's what I want to show you, okay, on Sebastian. So when you take somebody, all right, Sebastian wanted to be half his natural. Sebastian, again, this is what we talked about earlier, okay? When we talked about earlier how this is Sebastian's natural color right down in here. This was a cosmetic color. It was a buildup of color between 9-minute color, created permanent color, and a gloss. All copper tones. Okay, this is after Dolly went in. Let me just dry a piece of this one.
Okay.
Okay, real quick. Creating a much cooler blonde that you see in the hair. All right? Amazing that we could actually get the, and he's so damp, right? Look at the tonality of his hair. Again, he was lifted with Decologic Black, all right? On the scalp, 20 volume of the oxidizing emulsion. On some of these mid-shaft to ends, they went in with the 30 volume. What are we doing? Where are you going? We're going in with the 30 volume, and look at the clarity in that. Okay, look at the tonality. This again was on his natural, and then Dolly went in, and just to create a much more even blonde, to go in there and create. All right, beautiful.
Nice
What do you all think?
application, right?
Nice, creamy blonde. To take somebody from their natural and artificial, so their natural on the bottom, artificial buildup, all the way to a beautiful platinum blonde. What do you think?
Getting a lot of wows.
Amazing.
Great result. Connie's saying thank you. You know, that you're getting a lot of good love out there, Gerard. Excellent.
So, again, I want everybody to strongly take advantage of this situation. You know, the arsenal of tools that we as stylists and colorists are able to utilize in our palette is amazing, and the opportunity is always out there. Z1 Concept is always committed to bringing you the most simplest, easiest approach on coloring, lightening, and styling hair with a complete array of products. With the new Decologic Black, reach out to your distributors. If you don't have a distributors, come on to Z1 Concept North America page, look at the opportunities and the value that can be implemented in your salon. Decologic Black, 7 levels of lift, toning and lightening in one shot. Okay? I challenge each and every one of you to post your best ombre, your best sombre, a highlighting effect, or double processed blonde, simply by using Decologic Black. The possibilities are endless. The opportunity is there in front of you. So take advantage of everything that is offered to you and really reach out to your distributor and ask them, how do I get my hands on a tube of Decologic Black?
Okay, and I think this is kind of a great way to close out. Scott has just joined us from the UK, Scott Thomas, and he said, I'm so jealous, Gerard, make me platinum.
Yeah, you got it, Scott. If we can just hop on a plane and get together, I would be out there in a minute. Hopefully, we will be able to see each other very soon. Scott is a fellow educator of ours in the UK. So we miss you, Scott. We miss everybody out there in the UK and all of our other countries that we usually meet with every January and August. My heart goes out to everybody. Stay safe. Take advantage of the Decologic Black, and I hope to see you all. Remember, tomorrow evening at 8 p.m., you can go to the Milkshake North America page on Facebook. Get the link tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Scott, that'll be real early in the morning for you in the UK. However, we will be hosting a 9-minute color Zoom. Please join in. Next Monday, we are going to have at 12 noon a men's haircutting segment by Mr. Dylan Foster, one of our educators here in the Northeast. See you guys at the next event.